Through your own readings of the book and the script, what were you most eager to capture about your characters? Was it Margaret's orange tracksuit, a specific aspect of your character, a certain moment, or a character interaction between you guys?
I think that for me, it was sort of Margaret's like confidence and brashness, especially as like the newcomer. I guess Kathy's kind of a newcomer too, but this was like my first time working with producers, like my first time on a project this big. So it was kind of cool, like being the underdog, but also getting to be kind of like the overdog in the script. So it
Yeah,
was
no
kind of
filter.
yeah, super cool to just be Margaret and bring that sort of filterless, like you said,
Yeah.
unapologetic
Hmm.
confidence, which of course we know is built on a bit of like a house of cards, and she's got a
Hmm.
bit of a broken foundation that has led her to sort of put on this false sense of confidence. And
Sure.
so getting to sort of, through the source material and also, the script that Jenna put together, taking those little pieces and being like, how can I make her more depthful than just like the rude one in the group? How can I make the audience
Hmm.
understand that, the way she behaves and the way she treats her friends, it like comes from a certain place? And how can I show that while also, playing her truth?
Yeah, yeah. Being mean for mean's sake, not true. But what about you, Kathy?
I think I was very excited about the shift to Glee's love interest actually being her best friend and also
Hmm.
being, I'm just spoiling at this point because we've
That's okay.
already done this. Okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, having it be Margaret while Glee herself, at least in the film version, is quite conservative. I think that was very exciting because I just hadn't really seen, like a young Asian American girl in a Catholic school in the 80s realizing
Yeah.
that she's gay. And I think what's wonderfully translated between the book and the screen is the power of the friendship that these four
Hmm.
girls have together, and the way that that love like gets them through it. And when the love is gone, they fall apart, and I
True.
think it's a really important message about like each of these girls needs to support and love one another, and that's kind of what every teen just like needs, because you're gonna be going through a roller coaster of horror comedy
Yeah.
throughout your actual life. So that was really really exciting for me, that shift. And we just got to play around a lot, like with each of us got to play around a lot with our characters and make sure that we were pretty full characters, which was wonderful.
Yes. Yes. Agreed. Do you feel much cooler than walking in slow motion down a hallway when a great pop song is serenading it?
Oh yeah.
That's my every day.
That was actually the first thing we shot, at least for me. That was my first scene I shot. And so, sort of performing this confidence down the hall, but it's like my first time, in this big film. It was definitely a funny moment, but fun to be with the three other girls. I think the fact that the first thing I filmed was with them, it was sort of like, oh, okay, I could do this. And walking through that hall, yeah, it was a fun experience.
Did it have it in the script like what each face you would be making, or was that figured out on the day?
I think that was on the day.
Yeah, I think also we took a lot of different takes, and like
Mm.
we decided to do some funny faces and reactions, also to just like all the things that were on like the
On the
lockers. I don't
walls,
know if
like
you've
the
seen the
lockers.
Oh yeah.
signs actually, but it's like, oh, vote Brian for kissing Booth King, whatever.
And
Like,
then we'd be like arguing, like, I want him to win, or like, and then we had this guy, this background, this actor playing background, and we would be like, that's, this person's crush. So every time he'd walk by, we'd be like, him. And, just, we were just having fun with it on the day. And Damon was just giving us so much freedom to play. It's such a small scene, but it was our first scene all together. And so we sort of took that moment to like really play with each other.
Well, I really hope Amazon releases a great behind the scenes because that sounds awesome.
silly.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful.
I know we're about to wrap up here, but I'm a big fan of the 80s. And so just as you kind of already alluded to, just with the details, I know it's different kind of details, but just like seeing a lot of things, the posters and like the collage wall art and stuff like that, it's just really fun. And so I missed it just by a little bit. I was like born in 1990. And so what aspect of the 80s do you wish was still around today, whether it's the kind of music, specific gadgets, lack of cell phones, or the posters, or the hair? What do you think?
I would definitely say lack of cell phones. I think that being a teenager now, like I was in high school in like 2015, 2016 versus like the 80s, like there was hangouts, like there everyone was like meeting at the, or so it looks like by the films, at the like drive-in or like at the roller rink or bowling. Like there was just like these big things. You might see your crush there versus nowadays teens, it's like all online and like parties are very private and there's just like a very isolated world we live in now. So I really would have appreciated being a teen in the 80s where it's like anything can happen because everyone is, you know, relating within communities versus now our communities are on our phones. So
yeah, I definitely would say that. But I mean, mine kind of exists today, but like I love music. I grew up like being a musician. And so I think 80s synth, just like hearing a synth suddenly in a song, just like, I don't know, gets me going. And so I always love that now because we do get to experience that actually quite a bit in pop right now and in popular music right now. But I could always use more.
I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around.